So, what's going on with college campuses, especially for those entering in the fall and all the drama, all the pomp and circumstance that goes on over the summer to get students in the door? What's going on? What do we see really happening here at the universities? This is obviously our products are built around most homeschool, high school, and I'd say, 50% or more are going to be college prep, just the data that we know based on what we hear from customers. And we know also that many are going to, and of course we have older siblings, right? So we see a lot with older siblings and some watching them go through that. And we lots of our customers for the first time this summer have engaged with the college pomp and circumstance, and what just seeing it happen, what's happening, and the busyness of it all. So, if you're not familiar with it, I mean, you probably have friends that are. But I mean, what happens is when you sign up to go to a college and you get accepted, and it comes time for summer. Now, there's already some drama that's happened, right? The application process and getting accepted. But then summertime kicks in, or around summertime, and you start planning for events to where the student and or the parent show up on campus, and you're going to be doing tours. You're going to be doing welcome sessions, if you will. The You're going to be marched around campus. You're going to be, and a lot of times the parents come, and what a lot of universities do is the parents come and the students come, and they're separate, right? We come to campus. You've been accepted. All that's good. Now you coming to campus, and we're just bringing you there for, you know, uh, explaining the details of what's going to happen here. And so it looks all required, right? That's the first thing I've noticed is it looks like this is required things to do. It's not necessarily always required, but it's just funny watching it because over the years it has ramped up to a massive university undertaking. We spend a lot of money, a lot of time on that inside the university. And I just kind of want to share with you why we're doing that from the university perspective. Uh, Maybe it's obvious, maybe it's not. When I talk to a lot of these people, they don't see what's going on. Because really what happens is you've been accepted. Let's say you've been accepted into the School of Engineering at University XYZ. Really, all they've got to do is get you a schedule, maybe get you on the phone or a Zoom call with somebody to register. You can go to the campus and to register. You get registered for classes. You may want a little bit of information about what's going on. Boom, you're off and running, right? So it doesn't have to be this long dog and pony show that goes on, but it is, and it's what is happening, what you are seeing as parents and students, whether you like it or not, or whether it's annoying or not, or whether it feels like it's required or not. What you are seeing is marketing, because we at universities know the research shows us that in order to get students to come to your university, you must get them on campus. Now, does that apply for every student? No, but just the data, that's what it shows. If you get a student onto your campus, they're more likely to buy from you. It's like going to the car lot. If you can get a person in the car, behind the wheel, driving the vehicle, they're more likely to buy the vehicle. Car salesmen know that. University salesmen, that's what it is. It's a sales pitch, as they know that if they can get you there and sell you on the campus. Because we know so many things that are going on here in terms of research. Number one, you are the customer. And I think a lot of parents and a lot of students show up and they feel like they are going into the military or something, that they now have to obey all these rules, and certainly you've got to work with the rules of the university. But the truth is, you're the customer. Money doesn't come to the university except through these students, the kind of money we're talking about. And so, whether the student is being paid off of a scholarship, whether the student is being paid off of money from the family or a loan, or however the money's flowing, it flows to the university because that student shows up, right? So, the student showing up is key. We need the students to come to the university. So, then we look at the other data point. Many students apply to multiple universities. So now we've got to get them to ours. And so some students, they're visiting, they've been accepted, they've done campus tours, and they've done orientation, or they may do an orientation at more than one university. Because we know until you have registered for classes and paid, you're not real, right? You are just a number. We can just look at the numbers, and we do every fall. We look at the incoming numbers because the fall is the magic number, and the incoming numbers in fall, they'll be, just we'll just pick a number. We may have 1,000 students showing up in a particular program, and but we know that number is just a guess until they register and pay. And so there may be only 800 of those who actually register and pay for classes. So this is what we're dealing with. And so when you are involved in this, you have to remember, and I think if you go in with this mindset, they are selling you. And if you have anything you want to push back on, this would be a great time to push back. Not to say you can change much, but this is what's happening. If you don't want to go to these things, that's probably optional too. You can find your way out of it. They don't want to turn a student away. Let me just tell you that you don't want to turn any student away. Every number counts. And so some of you may have remembered, if you've got a college degree years ago, we did this. And some, depending on how far back it was, depending on the school, we may or may not have done quite to the level. But now it's really ramped up. So what they want to do is they want to get the student on campus. They want to get the student the T-shirt. They want to get the student more than a T-shirt. They want to get you buying all the paraphernalia. They want you to identify yourself as student of XYZ University. I'll pick on Auburn University because Auburn's a big feeder school for where we are. The Auburn University wants you to have the Auburn shirts. They want to have the Auburn paraphernalia. They will give you things, banners and posters that say, "I am an Auburn student." They will give the parents, bumper stickers, everything they've got to do to get you to identify, to see yourself as an Auburn student. It's just marketing. That's all it is. That's all. The whole point is nothing but to get your money coming to their university. So it's important, though. It's important to them. Maybe not important to you, but it is very important to them because what we're watching is the numbers go down. Now, when I say numbers go down globally, if you look at the data and the research, and globally, let's say United States, if you look at the research, there's less and less students showing up. There's multiple reasons for that, but I do think there's pressure on universities that whether they see that or not, fewer students are going to college. That's just what the trends are showing. And so it's not down like massive numbers, but it's going the wrong direction for a university. So we're seeing it go down. It was already competitive. And universities have big, giant, fat budgets. And I'll tell you where the money goes. It's not inside the classroom. It's not to faculty. It's to administration. We have more and more vice presidents over various things. So they're expensive. We have all kinds of programs we run. And not a lot of it has to do with I bet you can look at the universities as a whole. Pick a university, and you'll find that the increases in budget probably rarely show up in particular programs, sort of academic study or, and I'm not talking about research. That's a whole different animal. But what we do inside the classroom, what we do in terms of getting good quality teaching professors, that money, that's not where the money's going. You can, if you still want to chase that down, you can, but we are all about programs, because the other thing the data tells us is that students don't necessarily show up for academics. I mean, they may show up, they're looking for an engineering school, or they're looking for a nursing school, or they're looking, so you need to be a school that offers that. But what students show up for, data says, is green space, campus life. It's got to look welcoming in terms of the campus, which makes sense. It's got to look like there's life. It's got to look interesting. It's got to feel at home. What happens behind the door in a classroom, or what happens with individual faculty or the program, I would say it's secondary, but that's probably being generous, because it's not. It's probably way down the pipe. And we may think as parents and as students that we have put high priority on that, because we want to. We want to say that's what's important to us. Except it's hard to know when you've been really sold, and you've been sold good, and you've been sold hard. And boy, do we have a bunch of people that do that. We have an incredible number of people that are all about recruiting at universities. So I used to run one. The recruiting at universities is a machine, and it's, like I said before, it's just a huge sales operation. So as you're going in, if you're preparing a student for college and you're thinking about this, because I'm telling you what we see, the fears that we see is, if we don't do all this dog and pony show, if we don't go heavy to bring your student and your parent and the parents on campus a lot, we may not get that student as enrolled in the university. It's just a dollars game. So that's what we see. So you as a parent, or you as a student, what do you see? And the thing I'm always telling people, and this is at all level, undergraduate, graduate, especially graduate, PhD, is you are the customer. You're the person with money in your pocket, and that money goes to the university you decide to go to, right? They make it sound like it's highly, highly selective, and there are universities that are selective, very selective. But mostly what's selective is scholarship games. But once you've got it, you've got it, right? So, and usually once you've got scholarships, maybe University X offers some scholarship, University Y offers a different one, and then there's that game to play. But you're the customer. I mean, the reason they're spending money on scholarships is because you, the student, become marketing data. If you have a very high ACT score, for instance, or SAT score, then we bought your data, meaning you just helped us increase the average of our ACT score. You're also likely to be a graduate, and we think you're going to be successful. There's all this stuff that becomes it. I'm buying good marketing data. I'm buying part of the brand, because I mean, universities are businesses. So when you go and you're dealing with them, and you're talking to them, and you're applying to them, you have to remember that. No matter what facade they put on, or what faculty member you're talking to that may or may not be a jerk or may be super helpful. And by the way, sometimes it's hard to even talk to faculty members, because you're usually talking to recruiters. That you are the customer. You are the customer, and you have choices, and you have tons of choices. And it becomes more every day, including the choice of none of the above. I was just watching a video the other day with Elon Musk that's saying there's really no reason for people to have to go to college except in certain instances. And we're more and more of that corporate pressure is out there. So if you're the customer, how do you deal with that? Well, that means you apply to everywhere you want to apply to. That means you ask a lot of tough questions, but you need to get inside the program. If you're just talking to recruiters, that's great. They can be super helpful. They know the way around. But if you're trying to get in a nursing degree, for instance, you want to get inside the nursing school. You want to go talk to faculty members or program chairs over nursing. They will talk to you. They want to talk to you for the same reason. So you want to get into them. You want to talk to them. You want to get on the phone. You want to ask the silly, dumb questions like, do I have to do this? We're supposed to come to campus for this. We have other things going on this summer. Do I have to do this? This is a question that came up with some family member friends of ours. Do we have to go to all these things that you're inviting us to? And usually the answer is no. They will usually work with you to get something done somehow. You've got money, we'll figure it out. All because at universities, what we have to do is we have to meet our accreditation requirements. And so if there's something from an accreditation we have to do, we have to do it. And so the students got to jump through that hoop. So if part of it is the students must do an orientation, for instance, then okay, you've got to do some type of orientation. What that looks like is up to you. We see this all the time, where we adjust orientations and we'll have multiple orientations because some students will show up at the last minute, literally, and we've got to run them through some kind of orientation. We'll cover that, right? They can't be there for the whole dog and pony show all summer. We'll figure out a way to get them in because we want your money, right? And when I'm negotiating with schools, some schools will tell me, I've got to take extra classes. You've got to take some extra math. You've got to take some extra science. You've got to do some things that are above and beyond. Is that negotiable? Probably. Probably. We want your student to succeed. So if you're talking to a program chair, and again, this is where it's important to get inside the program. If you're talking to a program chair, which I mean faculty members, is then they would talk about what we might can do instead. Sometimes they're more flexible, sometimes they're not. It certainly depends upon the size of the university and how many students. You know, if you have 10,000 students coming into your program, it's difficult to be flexible with ones and twos. But if you have 1,000 coming in, oftentimes we have some flexibility, and of course, a lot of programs are much smaller, and they can be really accommodating. Now they can't waive everything, but they can be accommodating and try to help you get in at the least cost or the least amount of drama. If you can just go in, and I'm constantly telling people this, especially in the graduate school level, because that's what I deal with. But friends like you, I'm trying to just tell you, you are the customer. When you walk in as a customer, when you recognize you have dollars, and I don't care if it's loans that you're getting them from, if it's scholarships you're getting them from, if it's some kind of government funding that you're getting them, it doesn't matter. Those dollars in your hand, they are powerful. And you can speak with your dollars. You can speak with your students' ability to pass the course and make their ACT scores or SAT scores go up or whatever. They just want your students, and for money and money alone. Deans of universities have this things that you'll often hear. They'll say, "What we want is butts in seats," and that's them calling it what it is, because individuals in a classroom mean money to the program. Money means faculty salaries, money means program salaries, money means all the money going up to the vice presidents of X, Y, and Z at the university that let us do everything under the sun. Tuition dollars at almost every university, even major research universities, are a big part of the funding. So you and your students are a big part of the funding. So use your power of the dollar and get the best choices, get the best environment, demand the things for your dollar that you want for you and your student. And if there's things going on at that university that you don't like, your voice and your dollar is very powerful, especially when there's collective and multiple people speak up. All right, that's but I wanted to share that because this has happened a lot. I've seen a lot of this summer, just friends, families, and of course it's just summertime and we see this. Most of this is over now. Most of us are now ready to. The schools have done all that, but as you're thinking, as with your students going toward the next year, that the same Dog and Pony Show will be there. It will be bigger. It's bigger every year, so expect that to happen, and know your options. All right, so we are going to. So what we're going to do, by the way, so let's transition here for just a minute. We're going to do the Facebook Lives weekly. Starting, we'll be out a whole week. Next week, we are transitioning our website. And if all things work out right, this all may change at the same time, but we're transitioning our website and our store and our course platform. And we are going to be doing the Facebook Lives once a week. A lot more announced. You'll know what we're talking about, and we're certainly open for feedback for anything that you want to talk about. But we will be more clear where we're going and what we're doing. We will probably do some of the daily Facebook Lives, just maybe not as frequently, and focus here on the daily Facebook Lives, or however that turns out, to answer more specific questions. And the weekly Facebook Lives will be more topical, and they're webinars is essentially what we're doing. But collectively, we're usually gathering questions from you and trying to answer them, and we bring multiple questions together. So that will be, you'll see announcements of that coming up soon. All right, see you next time.